A young man who died by a mistake of a god is selected to be reincarnated in another world. When he arrives in the other world, he loses all his memories of his previous life. A game-like panel with a woman's voice tells him that he lost his memories because he wanted to. The game panel shows that he has the summoner class. The game menu panel tells the boy that he can communicate with her because she is a servant of Kelvin. Kelvin is the boy's name. The game panel named Melfina takes Kelvin to a city near where they are currently located, the city of Parth. Melfina explains to Kelvin that she is the goddess of reincarnation and that he had fallen in love with her, so he asked her to follow him on his adventure in another world. Kelvin also learns that he sacrificed his memories for more skill points. Later, Kelvin arrives at the Adventurers Guild, where he joins as an adventurer. During the registration, Melfina advises Kelvin not to write that his class is summoner because there are very few summoners in this world, and if it is known that he is a summoner, it would draw the attention of the rulers of the countries in this world. The receptionist, Angie, explains to Kelvin that since he is a new adventurer, he is rank F and can only accept quests of his rank or one rank above his own. Kelvin chooses a mission to hunt slimes as his first mission. After buying a weapon, Kelvin heads out of the city to search for slimes. Outside the city, he finds a group of slimes, and he decides to attack one of them, but the slime is very fast, so he has a hard time defeating it. After Kelvin defeats the slime, he uses his summoner class to form a pact with the slime. Kelvin names the slime Clotto. Upon forming a pact with Kelvin, each of Clotto's stats is increased by 100. Melfina explains to Kelvin that he is an S-rank summoner, therefore, after forming a pact, the target will receive a 100-point increase in its stats. With Clotto's help, Kelvin defeats the 3 slimes needed to complete the mission. After finishing the quest at the Adventurers Guild, Kelvin heads towards an inn to rest. On the way, he meets a slave merchant who has an elf girl available for sale. Kelvin stops for a while to take a look but leaves after a moment. At the end, Kelvin meets Claire, the innkeeper. Thus, Kelvin's first day in another world was spent. The following days, Kelvin and Clotto spend their time leveling up and learning new skills. Kelvin learns the skill Camouflage, and Clotto learns the skill Absorb. After some time, Kelvin is able to advance to Class E Adventurer and wants to accept Class D missions. An adventurer who introduces himself as Chassel recommends a D-class mission to Kelvin. Kelvin uses his Appraisal Eye ability to see Chassel's stats. He sees that Chassel is far stronger than he claims and has the title of killer in his stats. Kelvin then suggests to Chassel a competition to see who kills the Black Ghost Knight first and completes the D-class mission first. Later, Chassel regroups with his party members Gimel and Raj, who want to attack Kelvin. In the ruins of a castle, Chassel and his group arrive to complete the mission to kill the Black Ghost Knight. However, Kelvin was waiting for them as he knew they were planning to attack him when he was fighting the monster. Kelvin provokes Raj, who charges to attack him but is caught in a trap set by Kelvin. Gimel realizes that Kelvin was concealing his power and flees. Kelvin sends Clotto after Gimel. Gimel is defeated by Clotto, who has evolved into a slime Glutonia. In a flashback, it is shown that after a battle, Plato evolves from a blue slime into a slime Glutonia and obtains the title of Devourer. After defeating Gimel, Plato catches Raj, and Kelvin defeats Chassel, who had attacked him. Kelvin, after defeating Chassel's group and tying them up, decides to enter the next room to fight against the Black Ghost Knight. Kelvin uses his Appraisal Eye to see the Black Ghost Knight's stats. He notices that the monster's level is 53 and has the name Gerard. Kelvin changes his mind and no longer wants to kill the Black Ghost Knight, now he wants to make a pact with him. Kelvin realizes that the Black Ghost Knight named Gerard can talk and is very friendly, so he offers to form a pact with him. He says that he wants to see what Kelvin is capable of first, so they get into a fight. During the fight, Gerard has a flashback about the cause of why his country was destroyed and how he lost his wife and daughter. Remembering that the reason he is still alive is revenge for the destruction of his country, Kelvin somehow manages to defeat Gerard with a powerful spell. Back at the Adventurers Guild, everyone thanks him for getting rid of Chassel's group, which was locked up in prison. Angie, the receptionist, tells Kelvin that the guild has decided to give him a special rank promotion for completing the mission to defeat the Black Ghost Knight. Then, we learn that Kelvin formed a pact with Gerard, the Black Ghost Knight. At the Adventurers Guild, Kelvin meets an old man named Leo, the guild master of the Adventurers Guild in the city of Parth. Leo uses his Appraisal Eye on Kelvin and asks Kelvin if he is from another world. Calvin uses the appraisal eye to see Leo's information as well and realizes that Leo is very powerful. Gerard and Melfina suggest Calvin befriend Leo. Calvin asks Leo why he didn't stop Chassel's group since he is so powerful. Leo explains that Chassel is a nobleman from the militant nation of Tristan and needed solid proof for his claims. Leo also confesses that he had already met people from another world, the heroes of the Holy Empire. Mel Damaris tells Calvin that she had reincarnated those heroes. Leo says that soon the demon lord will emerge, that's why the monsters are very active lately. Calvin realizes that Leo wants him to protect the city instead of the heroes. In return, Leo offers him some beneficial terms for Calvin. Calvin agrees to Leo's offer. Back at the inn, the innkeeper Claire congratulates Calvin on his promotion to rank, which was one of the terms offered by Leo. In his room, Calvin asks Melfina about the heroes summoned by her in the Damaris Empire. Melfina explains to him that a priestess of the Holy Empire, Damaris, performed a ritual of summoning heroes. Afterwards, Calvin goes to buy a slave because slaves cannot use their skill points without their master's consent and would be a good teammate for Calvin. At the place where the slaves are sold, Calvin sees the elf girl he had seen before. Apparently, no one can buy her because she has a curse. Calvin uses his appraisal eye to see the information about the elf girl who has a curse of the Fire Dragon King. Calvin decides to buy her. She introduces herself as Ethel. Calvin tells her that he wants her to be his teammate in his adventures. Ethel is worried that her curse might hurt people, so Calvin uses a spell called Sacred Blessing to remove Ethel's curse, causing her to cry tears of happiness. Back at the inn, Calvin requests Claire to get some clothes for Ethel. Claire dresses Ethel in a maid's outfit, and the two enjoy a meal together. In the room, Calvin tells Ethel all his secrets and asks her to hide them from the others. Calvin allows Ethel to choose how to use her skill points. That night, because there are no more free beds in the inn, Calvin and Ethel share a room, which causes Calvin to be unable to sleep. For a month, Calvin and Ethel have been doing quests and leveling up. They both gain new skills. At the Adventurers Guild, Angie tells them that Calvin is about to be promoted to a rank adventurer and Ethel to be ranked. Angie invites Ethel to go shopping, to which she agrees, and she invites Calvin as well. The next day, Calvin meets Angie at the agreed place. Soon after, Ethel arrives with them. She is dressed in a beautiful dress. Afterwards, when they are enjoying their lunch, they are confronted by a guy who claims to be Tabra, the third prince of the militant nation Tristan. Angry that the man demands Calvin to hand over Ethel to him, Calvin beats Tabra and his guards. Tabra says that he is looking for a very strong adventurer who is rumored lately. Calvin tells Tabra that he is looking for him and refuses to serve Tabra. In the cathedral of the Damaris Empire, Melfina gives an oracle to the priestess Colette. She tells her that evil is brewing in the western region and to send the heroes there. Melfina asks Colette not to let the heroes near the city of Parth. At night, Ethel thanks Calvin for protecting her from Tabra. She also confesses her love to Calvin. The next day, Calvin and his companions review the hero statistics. Calvin is disappointed, thinking that the heroes were stronger since they have been in this world for more than a year, but they are weaker than Calvin's party. Calvin is called to the Adventurers Guild, where Leo informs him that they have found a demon inside a dungeon, and he wants Calvin to go investigate or get rid of it. Calvin and his party enter the dungeon. They notice that there are no monsters in the dungeon, which is very strange. After they enter into a room, Calvin and his party see a demon girl in the middle of the room. She seems to be sealed. At that moment, in a mountain of bones, an archman named Victor speaks to them. Victor tells them that the demon girl is the daughter of the former demon lord Gustav. Victor explains to them that he wants to defeat Calvin to absorb his power and use Calvin's power to free the demon girl to defeat her later so he can become a demon lord. Calvin has a big smile on his face. Melfina and Jarar tell Ethel that Calvin has a habit of smiling when facing strong opponents and that he is addicted to heart fights. Victor uses a spell called Hades' Army to resurrect a group of skeleton monsters as undead. Calvin and Gerard are rid of the undead. Calvin is very excited to fight Victor. Victor creates a smoke screen and attacks Calvin and Gerard from underground. Calvin, with the help of his companions, manages to paralyze Victor's arms. However, Victor transforms, and his power increases. With a combined attack, Calvin and his companions throw Victor through the air. A big rock is about to fall on the chained demon girl, but Victor uses his power to protect her.